This might be one of the sassiest characters of 2021, and I love it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to JBuck Studios, your home for reviews, reactions, and of course, ridiculousness. And we're talking about a movie that I actually was able to watch on South by Southwest earlier this year. It's finally coming out to VOD this weekend. It's called Swan Song. A retired hairdresser escapes his nursing home and embarks on an odyssey across his small town to style an old client's hair. So is this new kind of one last hurrah type movie absolutely fun and endearing? Let's find out. But before I get into my thoughts, let me know what you thought of Swan Song. If you've seen it, you haven't seen it, you're looking forward to it, jealous that I was able to go to South by Southwest. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments down below. Now, let's get into some of the good. So I did rewatch Swan Song a couple days ago to kind of refresh my memory. And this movie, the story here is just so darn kind of delightful because you focus on this one main character named Pat, and it's kind of him living his final days, if you will, in a retirement home. No one wants to do that. And then you see him go on this journey, this kind of greatest hits journey of going from the retirement home all the way to the funeral to finally do his one last calling. But along the way, he's kind of reliving all of these memories from his glory days of going to all of these different places, and his stops and bars and running into people that he used to know. And it's both kind of delightful and fun and reminiscent, again, kind of nostalgic to relive these days, but also heartbreaking as well because of the kind of maybe the failures that the character went on. So it's this interesting kind of, you know, one last hurrah road trip redemption arc type movie that I absolutely was on board for because, again, it was so delightful and just it felt good to see this character where you see him at the beginning of the movie finally get out in the open, throw his sassy attitude all over this small town, and finally get kind of one last, like I said, one last hurrah, one last like boom, I did it. And almost like passing along wisdom on to other people, especially towards the end of the film where he's at the bar and the drag show and whatnot. But the main core here that felt so good is Udo Kier. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. He is flippin' awesome as the main character because, again, you see this depression in the character at first, and then as he continues on his journey, you see the almost sassy young attitude of this kind of old gay man, older queen, if you will, running throughout this movie. And you see as he slowly gets towards his goal at the end, he becomes more and more of his old self. And I think that Udo here absolutely captured all of the emotion and kind of inner feelings that this character felt of, I'm a failure. You know, this is my last few days. I have nothing else to do. I'm going to sit in this retirement home and just fold napkins. But then you see the light slowly come back and the realization of him dealing with kind of, you know, hardships that he's had, but also maybe characters that are no longer along in his life. But the interesting thing too is that there's a couple scenes of him sitting in a bar or either on a bench and kind of experiencing life as, again, an older gay man in today's world. And it's this interesting kind of message or theme of himself and some others had to go through some not so great times, you know, dealing with people, hiding things. You know, there's two husbands that have adopted children, and he's just thinking to himself, this is entirely different. I don't know how to be a gay man in 2021. And also just him talking about safe places and whatnot. So it's in this interesting dynamic of, again, how times have changed for himself, but also for gay people or gay men specifically in this movie throughout the times and this small Sandusky town, like relationships, dating apps, everything, you know, Grindr and whatnot. But the way that this also kind of ties up at the end of the story, again, it was delightful. It was fun to see this sassy man just go throughout this journey. I think that this ends in such a beautiful, delightful, endearing, accomplished, successful way, to be honest. And that's the hard thing for a lot of movies I think I've seen this year, is to stick the landing. And the way that this ties up everything, I think, is the perfect, again, swan song, the perfect, final redemption arc for this Pat character throughout this movie. Now, getting into the cons, honestly, there aren't anything really drastic. It's some nitpicks here or there. So throughout this journey, he is running into different characters, different places. He's visiting kind of old memories and whatnot. And a handful of those, either places that he stops at or characters that he runs into, feel like they don't necessarily add much to the overall journey of the character or really adding any backstory to our character as well. There's one specifically where he's jump roping with some kids. Again, you see the inner child come out a little bit, so I'll give that one a little bit of a pass. But there's this also other one of him going and visiting his old home, but then confronting the owners for what they've done to his home. It's like a 4 or 5 minute sequence, so it doesn't take up a lot of the runtime, but it doesn't feel like it adds anything to the character, the plot, where the story is going. So again, small nitpicks here or there. Overall, Swan Song is just a delightful one last hurrah type road trip movie, with it again having this almost heartwarming story at the core, Udo Kier being a wonderful lead actor throughout this, and it also having a message or some themes on gay culture today, but with a few nitpicks here or there with some specific scenes and characters. I would recommend checking out Swan Song. Again, I am so glad I was able to watch this one more time before reviewing it, because it was delightful, it was fun. I mean, if you have some time this weekend, definitely check out this Swan Song, because it is a delightful kind of heartwarming journey. In closing, I'm going to give Swan Song 4.2 out of 5 cans of hairspray. So what did you all think of Swan Song? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Was this absolutely delightful like I was saying? I want to know all of your thoughts in the comments down below, because this is just again a delightful movie that I was able to watch earlier at South by Southwest. Anyway though, as always, thank you so much for watching. Watch some more videos up there or right over there, brand new content every single week here on the JBuck Studios channel. I think Suicide Squad coming later this week, so stay tuned. I'm probably the last person to watch that movie, so stay tuned for all of my thoughts. Follow all of my social media, including my TikTok and YouTube Shorts channel. Do that, people, and until next time, we'll see you later.